Good morning, everybody. My name is Susan Steele-Dunne. I'm an associate professor in water resources management here at TU Delft. 40% of the food that we consume comes from irrigated agriculture. And that means that 70% of all of the fresh water withdrawals in the world are used for crop irrigation. That's a lot of water. But in the next 30 years, it's expected that the increase in food demand means that we're going to need 20% more water. So our task as water managers is to make better use of the limited water resources that we have available. And we need to do that so that we can prevent a water security crisis, and more importantly, a global food security crisis. My research is about making smarter irrigation decisions. My dream is to have a radar satellite mission so that I can give information to farmers every day to tell them when to irrigate. And I want to do that because if we can provide exactly the right amount of water at exactly the right time, we can make huge water savings. When you think about watering a plant, if you're at home and you look at your plants, if they're all nice and green and perky, then you think, oh, I'll just do it tomorrow. When they start to have brown tips and the leaves start to droop, then you need to give them water. And that's what farmers do in a smarter way and on a much larger scale. So at the moment, we have lots and lots of satellites that are constantly taking images of the land surface. They're like photographs. And we can see how green and healthy our vegetation is. Well, that's brilliant. But we have one tiny little problem. When you think of water stress and you think of drought, you think of blaring sun and blue skies and cloud-free conditions, and that's not the case. This is an image of cloud cover in July 2013, when in the US, which you can barely see, 40% of the US was experiencing a drought, and there was a heat wave in Europe, which you can't see at all. And so at these times, these images are going to be pictures of clouds, not pictures of fields. And that's where radar comes in. Because with radar, we get images all of the time. Radar can see through clouds. So when you ask a farmer to delay irrigation, you're asking him to take a huge risk. He's risking his yield, he's risking his crop, and he's risking his livelihood. You can't do that if there's a 50% chance that you're not going to guarantee him information the next day. And that's not even the cool thing about radar. The cool thing about radar is that it doesn't just see through the clouds, but it sees into the plants. Radar observations are sensitive to how much water is in the plants and how that changes when the plant experiences stress. My research group have shown that at a leaf scale, at a plant scale, and we've seen it in satellite data. So what we're doing right now, we have a radar instrument that's built by a Dutch company, which we're using to do field experiments. And we're working out what my radar mission should look like. What frequencies should we measure at? What polarizations should we use? What time of day should we measure? How many times per day should we measure? These are all questions that we're answering with our work now. But the thing that worries me is that experiments like ours were done in the 1980s when scientists wanted to work out if we could use microwaves to measure soil moisture. And it worries me because the first soil moisture mission happened in 2009. That's 30 years later. There's no reason why we have to wait 30 years. Within a 40-minute drive of this building, we have companies who build radar instruments. We have companies who build satellites. We have the European Space Agency 40 minutes away. So my question for you is how can we turn our research, our field work, how can we turn that knowledge into a satellite mission within 10 years? Because when I start to think about food security and water security, we don't have 30 years to play with. We need to start working on it now. Thank you.